Hi Taurus, this is Lada from Astrolada.com with your August 2016 horoscope for anyone who has their ascendant, Sun or Moon in Taurus, and today we're shooting from the stunning Deception Pass in Washington State in the North Pacific of the States. Amazing place. I hope you enjoyed the views. I know you Taurus love nature, so I'm sure you'll appreciate those videos more than any other signs. So what is happening in August, Taurus? Well, let's start with the more difficult bad news. The two bodies, Mars and Saturn, are joining together in the sky, and they're both very powerful, they're both very bright, so there'll be like a battle of wills there between Saturn and Mars because they're kind of enemies. And it's happening in your 8th house, Taurus. So what does it mean? Well, when the two bodies get together, this area of our life can become a bit more complicated, a bit more strenuous, requiring extra effort, solving of problems, some delays that you have to sort out. But nothing can be, but everything can be overcome, with personal efforts and with caution and with logic. Mars is the planet of logic that requires, and personal will, and Saturn is the planet of hard work. With personal will and hard work, the things that we don't like doing much, basically, and using our willpower and our personal, lots of efforts and hard works, but those issues can be overcome. So what is the 8th house? So Taurus, the 8th house is, I think there is a military base around here, so from time to time we'll have the military watching over us, the Navy watching over us. Anyway, so the 8th house is other people's resources. It's resources, whether moral, financial, or emotional, or assets of others that we can easily tap into ourselves and utilize. But when the two bodies are there might be some complication. For example, some loan that you might be expecting, there might be some complication, or money that you're relying on coming from someone you have to fight harder for, or maybe some income that you're expecting from clients' payments or something like that, or from parents or from spouse. Any other people's resources. This can be a little bit more complicated, might require more extra efforts. The 8th house is also our in-laws, the parents of our spouse. There might be some happening there that requires more attention, that requires more efforts, that requires, I don't know, maybe a few prayers. The 8th house, so there is the finances of our partner. There might be certain expenses that come to you through others, and maybe you having to put and give some of your resources to others or investing in others in some way to improve some situation as well. 8th house is taxes and inheritances. In worst case scenario, there might be some fight or some complication, something to do with taxes or inheritances. But if you're cautious, if you apply willpower, if you work patiently, you can overcome that. And I'm not saying that for all Tauruses, all of those things will happen. For some will happen, So I'm trying to enumerate all the possibilities. The 8th house is the house of trust and intimacy. So there might be something that is a bit more complicated in regards to trust to another and allowing yourself to open. That's something that comes to the surface that might be a little bit hurtful, that opens some old wounds, because the 8th house is the house of traumas and old wounds from being hurt from before, and that reminds you of something from the past. But again, those two bodies, as we call them, Saturn and Mars is a surgical knife. Saturn is like Saturn is the thing that you do the grass with, like the Grim Reaper holds it. So they both want to remove and cut out unnecessary, unhealthy parts of whatever they're passing. And when they come together, you can really get rid of a lot of things that are 8th house that are necessary. For example, and it might happen in a painful way. If someone's been taking too much money from you, too much resources, emotional or physical resources or assets, these two planets there make you look at that and evaluate and even get you frustrated and say, enough. I'm not allowing these people to take advantage of me anymore. That's another way it can manifest on the emotional, material, even sexual level. And it can create frustration there, so you cut off that. Or if something has been taking more resources from you than getting back. For example, addictions is very much 8th house matters. Things that have more control over us than we have over them. And this can frustrate us. This can give some negative results to us that we say enough is enough, because those two difficult planets, they act like that, Saturn and Mars. They don't make us say, oh, it's time to stop. No, they aggravate you, they aggravate the problem, so you say, fuck it, I'm not doing it anymore, you know, and or I'm not allowing this to happen anymore. So this is another way it can work out in you. You see, eventually the result is positive again. And oftentimes when the biggest complications happens and angry stuff, such great things come out of that, you know, especially if we're more self-aware. But be careful with finances, with expenses, with, you know, giving and receiving money, you know, because of those Saturn-Mars frustrations that can happen as well. Sexuality is the 8th house, very tantric sexual house. There might be certain frustration with some sexual issue there that puts you into action to overcome with hard efforts and willpower as well. And 8th house is the house of sudden changes, big transformational changes, and those two bodies, as we call them, they might actually, they say that when bad planets are in hard houses, in bad houses, like the 8th house for you, Taurus, actually they kind of, the negative influence is annulled, because we need to get angry at something bad to get rid of it, you know. We can't talk it out in a smooth way most of the times, you know. And 8th house is, as I said, those inner demons. Some of those inner demons can rise to the surface, some fears of the unknown, of the hidden, the secretive, because 8th house is hidden, secretive things that come to the surface, so we can get angry at them and cut them out or remove them or release them in some way. Okay, so that's about the 8th house. And not only that, but Mars rules your 7th house of relationships, Taurus. And being with Saturn in the sky, for a big part of August, you're asked like to slow down in relationships, to think a little bit, to sort out some problems there, which is Saturn, with hard efforts, to put more effort. And maybe some partner can be more demanding on you, which is Saturn, you know, can be more having high expectations on you, or pressing your buttons in some way. But again, good things can come out of that. Some business partner, personal partner, or there might be some complications in the life of a personal partner of yours, which is Saturnian. But again, it's a short-lived transit. It will move away by the end of September, by the end of August. So we'll start taking a breather and would have resolved those issues there with others in some way, you know, their resources, because it's also the 8th house. Okay. So let's see what else is happening. Now the good news, 3 benefics are together for the whole of the month almost. In the sky you can see Venus, Jupiter and Mercury. So it will be a great summer, great August to star watch planets in the sky, basically, because Saturn and Mars will be together very close, very bright, and Jupiter, Mercury and Venus at different parts of the night will be together. Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, you will see them. They'll be bright. I think they'll come out a little bit before the sun rises or after the sunset, but I have to remember something like that. You can Google it. If the sun is in Leo, they're in Taurus, so they will appear at sunset. A little bit before, after sunset, you can see Jupiter, Venus and Mercury in the sky. Perfect, great for watching. Who wakes up before sunset anyway? So Jupiter, Venus and Mercury will be in your 5th house. So the good news is that whenever 3 benefics come in the 5th house or in any house, they kind of allow it to prosper, they resolve problems with that house naturally, with ease, without anger, you know. So the 5th house is fun, one of the meanings. So you can let your hair down, Taurus, and have fun this month. And it will come to you naturally. You might probably feel like, oh, I feel like dancing, I feel like partying, I feel like going out and having fun like a child, like singing, like going on holidays. The 5th house rules all those things that our hobbies that we love doing, that are that make us feel like a child, that brings out our childlike creativity. And also, if you're having some creative project, for example, if you're working on something that requires your creative intelligence, active creative intelligence is the 5th house. Even if you're not a musician or a singer or a politician that has to be at center stage positions, even if you're not pottery maker, anyone has the creative intelligence, and anyone who is in career where they have a little bit more, or in more freedom of action, where they can use their creative intelligence. If you have your own business, this is the 5th house, because you're using your creative intelligence to run that business, you know. So these things will be facilitated. There will be like more ease there. Saturn and Mars can make some pressure on those matters as well, you know, because they're making a hard aspect to those planets in the fifth house, but still those three benefics are in the fifth house, so they help with those matters. Fifth house is romance and flirting as well, because the fifth house is the heart chakra, and how do we fall in love through the heart chakra when we open up, and they can help you open up this fifth chakra a bit. I'm not saying you're all gonna meet the love of your life, but that you can go on a romantic date, you can have more fun than normal. Fifth house is the house of, if there was some complication in some romantic situation, Jupiter, Mars, and Venus can help in that, can kick things up a bit a notch in a positive way. And children, if you had some, if your child, for example, had some difficulty, and now Jupiter, Venus, and Mars are in your fifth house, they can improve. They can, you can improve the relationship with the child as well. But you know, despite of the Saturn-Mars pressure, look, the universe is giving you such a lift from Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury in your fifth house of creativity, letting your hair down, if enjoying yourself, creative projects, allowing your light to shine in center stage positions. Even if you don't like to be center stage, you might have more opportunities now in August to do that, or to have fun in some way. Okay, what else is happening? Let me see. Saturn is starting to move direct. Hey, good news. Saturn has been moving backwards in the sky for the last few months, 4 or 5 months, and it means like it's been making certain lessons in our life more difficult. And when it starts moving gradually direct, especially because Saturn rules your career, the 10th house cusp, and the 9th house of pre-qualification and vision for the future. When it starts moving direct towards the end of August, you start gradually feeling how something to do in regards to your vision of the future starts unblocking. You can start moving ahead, the 9th house, with the new projects, and also something in regards to your career can start unblocking or start giving results. If you've been working very hard on something, on some project or career over and over, Saturn will start, you know, when it starts moving direct, you can move ahead to newer such projects, to newer vistas, the 9th and 10th house, which Saturn rules. And as I said, Saturn is in your 8th house, so any complications from the end of August that were to do with personal, mutual resources and finances, taxes and inheritances can also start untangling. And there is another good news, because Jupiter is making trine to anyone who is Taurus, born in the last 10 days of Taurus, which means you have your ascendant or moon from 20 to 30 degrees. Or you have your sun from 20 to 30 degrees, which means that you're basically born from around the 11th of 12th of May to around the 22nd of May, till the last day of Taurus. Jupiter will make a trine aspect to your ascendant, sun or moon, which is great. You know, Jupiter is the last 10 degrees of Taurus, which Jupiter left untouched in its previous transit almost. So now if you've been hearing, oh, Jupiter is going to help Taurus in 2016, and it haven't happened to you, if you're those last 10 degrees, now Jupiter will bring you some opportunities, because Jupiter is about growth, opportunities, increasing confidence. It's about believing more in yourself, finding meaning, finding purpose, and bringing opportunity. If it's your sun in Taurus, it can bring some career opportunities or something positive that happens in the life of male figures, authority figures, father, husband. That's the sun. If your moon is in Taurus in the last 10 degrees from 20 to 30, it can be something to do with your family life, or opportunity for property, or something positive in regards to selling or buying a property or renovating your property, and that starts going smoothly and positively. If it's your, with women, mother, wife, this is the moon. If it's your ascendant overall in your life, kind of the outlook, some opportunities can appear. Jupiterian, Jupiter is expansion, growth. So anyway, this is your horoscope, Taurus. There is a small minor lunar eclipse, but it's very tiny, so I'm not talking about it. You know, it has to be proper, like fully covered lunar eclipse for a person to feel it. So anyway, this is what I see for you, Taurus. Subscribe to my channel and follow me on Facebook, where I make competitions for free readings with me, with one of my amazing psychics and astrologers, when I announce webinars, and when I post directly live videos and do videos about celebrities, predictions. Thank you so much. So follow me at astrolada.com.